Not a 1, not a 2, not a 3, not a 4, not a 5, not a 6, a 7. Can we have an 8-day winning streak, folks? Yes. We are going for 8 in a row. Ceasefire, no ceasefire, talks, no talks, whatever. We are on a winning streak, and you can't deny that. Will the CPI shake things up? We don't know. Will the market care about the CPI? Well, not right now, but maybe in a few months with $100 oil, we can see about that. Uh, hardware versus software. I mean, song remains the same. What a horrible day on software yesterday. Hardware, optical, more deals for CoreWeave, 2 days in a row on a roll. We can cover some other stocks, folks. We'll talk ratings. Shake Shack. Have you had an expensive Shake Shack burger? Well, we will discuss that. One of our top guests, Tony Pollock, will join us at 8:35. Ticker time, levels, and just Tony's all around good character. Brettster out today working on a secret project for the Stock Trader Network. Folks, let's get it started on PreMarket Prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, song remains the same. I'll use that again. Up 3 handles, not through yesterday's high yet, but steady ahead of the CPI number coming out. So there's a look at the ES. The buck pulling back again here. Got over par and now coming back. Working on an inside day, perhaps. TLT in the red. Wow, that may change at 8:30. USO down $1.60. Oil stocks really not moving off it yet. GLD and SLV both flat. Bitcoin futures, they are up $115. Let's call it flat at 72,400. We all know these charts are brought to you by TradeStation, born to trade. Chart, analyze, customize, all-in-one platform. Integrate AI into your trading with TradeStation. Dennis, we come on every day. We say hardware versus software, hardware versus software. Are you getting tired of saying that?
Yeah, no, kind of. I am definitely tired of it. You know what I'm getting more tired of, though? Snow. I'm not talking the stock. It was 60 degrees here yesterday. Today I wake up and it is snowing. And these are some of the biggest flakes that I have ever seen. I don't know. Like, it's not going to stick because it's going to warm up here later. But there is some major snow coming down here right now. We cannot get away from it. April 10th in Georgian Bay. Still snowing. I have no idea what to even say about that. But, you know, the hardware versus software thing, we do know what to say about that. We've been saying the correct thing here for months here now. The software names just cannot catch a bid. You have a fantastic day the last couple of days. You know, 8-day win streak, Joe, we're talking about. The market rallying, everything going great. Not in software land. IGB having one of its worst 2-day runs here in a long time on days where the S&P was up substantially the last 2 days. So just for fun. The S&P 2 days ago was down at 660 on SPY. Now we're 680. The IGV 2 days ago was up at 84, 83.69. Now down at 76.70. This dispersion here is incredible. And this dispersion here is real, folks. And it is, you can blame Anthropic. And you'll be right to blame Anthropic because Anthropic seems like it's changing the world.
It's the new I mean, we talk about different, catalysts, right? The movers. For a long time, it was the 13 Fs and Warren, right? And Warren. And then it was the jobs number. And then it was the inflation data. And then it's what's NVIDIA doing, right? They've really moved.
Get a mention from NVIDIA, your stock pops 10%. Now, if you get a mention from Anthropic, that's the stuff right there. CoreWeave 15 minutes ago gets a deal yesterday. They get another deal today. CoreWeave signs a multi-year deal with Anthropic for AI infrastructure. Stock is popping, but CoreWeave's having trouble holding these gains. Couldn't hold it yesterday. Having a little bit of trouble again. The offering weighing it down because they did just price the convertible offering too. So, when you get good news and you throw the offering in with it, the good news isn't going to be as, well received by the market as it would be without an offering. But I mean, Anthropic here, like, is, basically disrupting everything at this point in time. And I know we're going off, maybe from the original when we're looking here, Besson. Let's just go talk Anthropic here for a second, because we usually start with a war update.
Brent's
I'm getting bored with the war update.
Dennis, Brent's not here. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah,
yeah.
Brent would yell at us. I'm like, I'm getting off the agenda here, so I'm like,
you're already off it.
Anyways, we were supposed to do a war update off the hop. The market's done with the war, so we're going to be slowly done with the war here too. The market is no longer worried about the war. At least the S&P isn't. There may be certain stocks worried about the war, but overall, the market doesn't seem to be even caring about the war. It's about moving back to AI. So Anthropic.
That's our war update?
That's our war update. AI is where we're heading here now. Besson Powell warning bank CEOs about Anthropic model risks. They were coming out yesterday here. Every major operating system, there's some concerns here, but Anthropic overall is just what is happening to software. Anthropic overall is what is happening in the market. Anthropic overall is what is happening with the hardware names. It's Anthropic's world here. I know we were talking ChatGPT 2 years ago, and OpenAI is still there, but I'm telling you, man, Claude and Anthropic, and when we're talking AI, that's what everybody is talking about here now.
What's the best way to invest in? Is it in the private market? I mean,
well, yeah, so there's multiple ways, and we've talked about this before. If you want to invest directly in Anthropic, you're going to have to wait for the IPO, but there is some companies that do own shares indirectly of Anthropic. DXYZ is one of them. They also are obviously big in SpaceX as well. There's a few other ones here, but it's difficult. So unless, you're huge, private equity and getting in there and getting in these rounds of funding, it's difficult. There are some companies that own some shares, though. DXYZ is kind of one of the better ways to play it. I kind of like DXYZ. I've been in and out of it. I've been day trading it a lot. I've swung trade a couple good swings off of it. But DXYZ is also SpaceX play here, too. So, there's lots of things to think about. But Anthropic just, is just moving everything else, though. So if you can't, talk Anthropic stock because it's not listed yet, one day it will be. And I mean, I don't know what the valuation of Anthropic is going to be when it comes out, but it's going to be pretty incredible here. That could happen later this year, but we have no confirmation of that at all. But just going back, to the original conversation here was IGV. I mean, the moves yesterday were, I would have thought when I'm seeing IGV down 4.5% on the day that, oh my gosh, the markets really got killed. The NASDAQ really got killed. And that was not the case at all. The NASDAQ was higher. It is just selective selling here now, but moves in like even cybersecurity names, like going to CrowdStrike. The 2-day move in CrowdStrike is unbelievable. 2 days ago, it's getting a pop-up. I think it was a rating or something like that. Goes up to the 450 level. So this is it. And then just turns around and sells off 60 straight points. Okta, OKTA, 82 to 67 in 2 days. That's like a 20% fall in 2 days. I don't even think they had news. Palantir, what? Palantir crushed like 20%, 25. Just a couple of days goes from 156 down to 129. These are incredible moves.
These are monthly, yearly moves.
Yeah, like somebody was saying, oh, the war is over. It's Palantir's going down. No, nothing to do with the war. It's software. And Anthropic is potentially, Burry put out an article, but it's not rocket science here. Anthropic is disrupting all the software names here. ServiceNow. This, again, same thing. Breaking down. And some of the easier trades have been just to play the breakdowns. Like with breakouts aren't working, but breakdowns are. And this ServiceNow had huge support at $98. Takes that out yesterday, straight to $88. Gets a downgrade here today from UBS. Thank you so much. But I mean, McDermott's got to be looking at this and saying, what? Because their earnings are still strong. But this market is pricing in major disruption. And is it right? I'm not going to say it's wrong. I've been calling for it. So I think, I don't know where these things turn around. Some of them are oversold, but I'm not going to be a hero. I know Dan Nathan was saying this is oversold and he'd be buying the IGV and buying some of these software names last night. I don't want to be early on that call. I'm not going to be the hero. Brian Shannon, I'm listening to you, buddy. I would buy a strength after the dip, but I don't even know if I want to own these stocks at all. You're going to have to prove me stories here. Maybe the earnings season's going to prove it, Joel. Maybe Microsoft's going to come out and say, no, everything is fine. Some of these companies are going to come out and say that, but is the market going to believe it? Because we're also in a market where it doesn't believe anything anymore. We've had so much, misinformation on the war, misinformation from Iran, misinformation from Trump, misinformation from everywhere. This market's just starting to become like a market that can't believe headlines anymore. And you come out with good earnings and you say everything's fine, they sell you off anyways. It's an incredible market.
Just real quickly, and I'm not going to give any specific levels on these stocks today, but for people maybe that are new to the show, or people not that familiar in technical analysis and stuff. I mean, you just like when you look at stocks and they make 3 highs in the same area, and this was back in March, right? Nice bounce. You got it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to short it there. Maybe if you have a long, take a look at it. But just look at that area. And like it gave you a clue. It almost got there. I mean, there was some former lows there. I looked at that. Okta is not as clean, but yeah, kind of. I mean, it's an $80 stock. And that's just a sign of like big boys, like a big position.
These are institutional sellers moving price like this, Joel. These are institutional sellers saying something's happening here, and I don't want to be a part of it. They're hitting bits. Like these are basically what we can say has happened in a lot of these software names is they have crashed. We haven't had a crash in the overall market, but on some individual software names, we have crashed. And some very quickly here, but overall, looking where we started the year, ServiceNow at 150 to 89, CRM started the year up at $260 to $170. Benioff's just losing his stuff. He's probably throwing chairs and stuff at this point in time.
You say that almost every show.
He's angry. He was angry when it was at 260. He's on Kramer and he's so mad. But Palantir's coming down now and he hates Palantir, so maybe that makes him feel a little bit better. But I mean, Palantir, speaking of them, $180 down to $129 here today. But the pain trade just continues here. I don't know what turns the story around. I don't see anything imminent here, because even if these companies come out and say earnings are great, ServiceNow did that on their last report. They came out, said earnings are great. McDermott on CNBC with Jim Cramer said this, and I quote, "The stock will re-rate higher." He said that when it was $125. He said the market is wrong and the stock will, use the word will, re-rate higher. It's $88. It will do nothing you think it's going to do. It's going to do what it wants to do, and it wants to take your stock lower. But they said everything right. Earnings basically said the stock is too cheap and it will re-rate higher. They're trying to do buybacks. He goes in and buys shares himself. It doesn't even help. This is unbelievable. The disruption here, folks, may be real.
All right. I just finishing up this point and then I'll move on. This is trying to sell on strength, right? This is like, okay, people are buying today. I want to sell. I want them to lift my offers, right? And it's very contrarian. Like, this is busting out over 200. This is it. This is going now. This is going back to the 200-day moving average or the 50-day moving average. But they're just like, okay, put 50, I'm going to give you, $500,000 to sell over 200. They don't put 500,000 out at 200 because the high freaks will get on them. Then you have days where they say, okay, we're smashing bids. Just look for a bid. Like some guys used to come into the pit and they wanted to get short and they would just walk in and they'd go, bid. And someone would go, a quarter on 50, sold at 20, 50 at 20, 100 at even. That's what you get. Different complexions of the market. So, but let's get rid of the bad and let's talk about
there's so much good happening in this market too.
Let's go to the good.
Talk about how the software names, but it is not. This is a market of rotation. And why is the market going higher when software's getting killed? Because it's the only thing really getting killed here now. Everything else is rallying up pretty strongly here. The industrials like XLI been on fire here, and certain names like, going up into value trade. The value trade is back again. The low PEs are cool again. So we're seeing a lot of those names go up here too. Money Mitch did a great job last night pointing some of these stocks out, but there's other things happening. Like there's just so much dispersion here in the market where you have some stocks relentlessly higher, other stocks relentlessly lower. I want to look at Avis Budget for a second because we haven't given it any love at all, but we got to look at CAR. you got to look at CAR, because this move in the last, oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, in 12 days, this chart's for real. In 12 days, cars went from $100 to $300. These moves are nuts, man. Like some of these moves. So this is like, holy, some people got really,
what do they got? AI?
It just short squeeze starts and then starts going here. I mean, like, I don't know. It's still, a rental car company here, but it started, it's going here. Hertz, we've been talking about and trading it from the long side a little bit here too. Is there a catch-up trade here eventually? I don't know if car is just doing its own thing. It's illiquid, it's thin, and it moves. And I mean, it seems like every day I come in, a car is up another $25. I mean, these moves, Joel. So we can talk, how ugly this market has been, and it's been for certain investors in certain bad sectors like software, which we've been warning you about for 2 months. But I tell you, in other sectors and other stock specific, there's some crazy stuff happening. So, where the money's coming out of certain stocks, it is going well into other things as well. That is a crazy move, man.
This thing has not. I mean, I was out for a few days, but this was.
It's done it all in a few days, really. It's really gone.
I mean, no, I mean, this was $100 at the end of March. Wow,
doing nothing, like just leaking. Like Carr had this move, so it has historically done this before. In 2021, Carr did the same thing. Went from $100 to $500. It felt like in a heartbeat. Now it's trying to do the same thing again here in 2026. It's a tricky market. And I'm going to say, back to the overall market. I know we're kind of all over the place here because Brent doesn't keep us on the rails. But you know what? It's a good tangent I've got here going, because I think like this market has speculation coming back in hard right now. This market has an 8-day winning streak going. I mean, this market has turned completely around tariff style like April was 2025 when we just had the V bottom. It looks like we're going to do it again. It looks like we're going to do it again. I'm going to do it on the backs of higher oil prices. Like 4 days ago, I did not think the market could go up with oil as strong as it is. But the market has decoupled from it. The S&P has decoupled from it now. Doesn't make any fundamental sense. It makes no fundamental sense. But price doesn't always make fundamental sense. Price just wants to go where it wants to go. And, at this point in time, this market is not concerned with the war anymore. It doesn't even care if the strait's still closed. They open it for a day, not even. They open it for a couple hours, reclose it. The market rallies 200 points. We didn't get anywhere. And it just holds the gains and goes higher. Shorts are screwed, man. There are people who are short this market right now, totally screwed. There are money managers who are underinvested right now, totally screwed. And this market's going to go to all-time highs, and they're going to be underperforming. And the worst thing to do is be underperforming your benchmarks. That's how you lose your jobs here. So dips are getting bought here. Hard to be bearish here when the market is climbing the biggest wall of worry I've ever seen.
First 8-day winning streak since August 19th of 2024. Times where it extended to a 9th day, that would be Monday, is about 50%. That statistic brought to you by ChatGPT. No, I was just say Anthropic. I'll say Anthropic because that's more sexy. All right, let's keep going with the good, but the really good. I mean, we won't talk about Marvell yesterday or today. But Taiwan Semiconductor here. No earnings. They just posted 35% jump in revenue to a new record high as chip demand stays strong. Folks, keep in mind they report next Thursday looking for Q1 revenue, 1.13 trillion, but that's in Taiwan dollars. That comes out. Let me do the calculation. That's 35.6 billion. That would be a 35% year-over-year rise. Taiwan Semiconductor.
What did I say yesterday? I know TBD hates me and tries to point out everything that I say wrong.
Who's that?
What did I say yesterday on Taiwan Semiconductor? I said this stock can hit all-time highs before Thursday, before next Thursday. Well, just went to 374. I just got $10 right there. Now we're only down another 15 to go. I mean, that's hardware. This is where you want to be. This is where the market is going. This is like you see the optical names like going up every day. I mean, it's hardware versus software. This market is just continually the same themes. So, I mean, on dips, Taiwan Semiconductor, it looks like it's ramping up to go to all-time highs. Why fight it? Sandisk up every day, but, we still don't give, that's up again. But I mean, the optical names, LITE, AAOI, pulled back a little bit yesterday finally, but they're all breaking out here too. Corning, breaking out to new highs here as well. So, I mean, hardware is just on fire. Intel, this is a complete monster right now. Like, Intel's having the move of all moves. Intel's up 60% in a week. 60, I think it is. 40, maybe the math is wrong, so somebody said.
No, is
40,
it?
well, let's do it. Somebody said 60. It's now 40 to 62. It's over 50. What is that math, Joel? Do your air math. 22 points on 40. 53% a week.
Yeah, I was gonna say 55 ballpark.
55. Wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. That's incredible. These stocks this is what it is. Like, I'm been tweeting it, saying it. Hardware. That's what money is going out of software and into hardware. Is it overdone here now? Yeah, it is.
You said it was overdone a while ago. I mean, I said it was overdone a while ago.
I didn't think it was overdone a while ago. I think it is today. I think it's overdone. I think there's going to be some, pullbacks, maybe some rallies here, maybe there's going to be, coming back to the mean a little bit, but it doesn't mean it's overdone long term. It means buying dips on stocks and uptrends, selling rips on stocks and downtrends. Now you've got such a ripper at Intel here. If you buy it here, you're completely chasing it. But do you buy a dip? Probably. Do you buy dips on SanDisk and Micron? Rewarded if you did that last week. If you sold the rips on all those software names, rewarded for that as well. So the name of the game is simple. Stock in a long term, first thing you do, bring up, a 3-month chart or a 6-month chart. Is the stock in a downtrend? If it is, you're selling rips. If the stock's in an uptrend, you're buying dips. That's basically the simplicity of this market. And it's working.
And boy, if you have targets in these areas, or you want to take advantage of some of the crazy option premiums. I know Kenny's come on and talk time to time and hedging his silver position. I mean that's if you want to sell, but first, one thing you just like to keep an eye on with these stocks is do they take out the pre-market high? Because that could be if someone's looking to, unload, for example, SanDisk here, pre-market high, 878.45, hit that on a couple brackets, it's $6 off it. Just early in the session, you want to see those levels taken out. But say Micron, they hit it after earnings, it stabilized, it came back up. I mean, everything had that.
It's lagged SanDisk a bit. SanDisk has been the runner here now, but Seagate too. Don't forget your Seagate, your Western Digi. Joel owns half these stocks. This is pretty impressive for your portfolio too. Although Joel owns everything. So he's just basically moves with the S&P because you got some software names in there too. You just own the entire market.
Well, no. And I don't like to say much, but you know what my cost basis in SanDisk is?
Nothing, because you got it for
Zero.
free.
I know.
That's nice.
That is a good cost.
You can basically never sell it.
No.
You have to pay all tax.
Do we want to talk about lazy old Apple at all? Where does that fit in? I know you sold.
I don't know. And I went long it. And then I'm like, I don't know. And I've sold it. I'm like, I want to be long Apple, but it's 30 times and nothing else is trading at 30 times. And they've been buying stocks that have, and then it got spooked on the whole, folding, whatever, the folding phone not going to work. And they nailed it down. You were away, I think, when that happened, Joel. They knocked it down like $15. And I was like, oh, and then it came right back with tariff or with, with the supposed fake deal on the straight. And I'm like, you know what? This one's just too hard. So I'm out of Apple here now. I'm just out, and I'm going to say it's too hard because it is hardware. Everybody is like a staple. People are still going to buy new cell phones. They're going to be coming out. Siri eventually will get better. It's like, a staple with an AI call option. So it's not terrible. At 20 times, you back up the truck. At 30 times, I don't know, nothing's trading at 30 times now. I mean, you got NVIDIA at 19 times. You got Amazon at 20 times. Why am I paying 30 times for Apple? That's the problem, is valuation here.
Yeah, they is a fee put on the screen there. Global shipments of the first quarter up up 5% year over year. So there's the thing about Apple, and I know that I know you exited the Meta too because you were worried about
I'm glad to be out of Meta. What a gift.
Yep.
And this goes to show you, like, people. So I was bearish. I was long Meta in the long-term portfolio. And then I got bearish, and I bag holding it, but not just bag holding it. Like, people say, well, if you don't like it at 550, if you don't like the stock, well, why don't you just sell it? I'm like, because I think it's oversold and it's due for a bounce. And I thought there could be an efficiency pop. I also said that when they get, you know, how many times I say this? I'm not going to sell my Meta because I think you're going to get a deal where we actually get an Iran, you know, deal, and the market's going to pop on that. That's going to allow me to get out. Well, that is what has occurred. Even though the deal is fake, and it is, I'm going to say it, it's going to piss some people off, but the deal is fake. It's popped the market. So, you know, it doesn't matter. The market doesn't care about a deal anymore. But, you know, and I know it's come and it's got some other headlines here now and it's doing some things, but there's just too much uncertainty for me in Meta here. I think that there is going to be competition coming with new social media platforms later this year, early next year. I think there's going to be a lot of new things happening. Meta's going to come out with new stuff too. Don't kid yourself. There could be another pop if they fire software engineers, which they probably will because Zuck is heartless. So again, some of these are just hard. I'm just getting out. I'm moving to the sidelines here. I could see Meta rising on an inefficiency trade, but I could also see it going down on potential disruption later this year.
Yeah, and you also were worried about like AI creating a new, you know, a new.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
no,
yeah, but
no. I am fully convinced, Joel, like with my soul, that there are going to be like all kinds of new social media platforms coming out, like all kinds of them. Like Twitter's kind of a mess. Let's be honest here. You know, like I know Elon. You know, I've been an Elon fan, but I'm seeming to not be anymore. He's screwed Twitter up pretty good. Like you go on there, it's all bots. You try to search something, it's a mess. I mean, he fired, you know, maybe too many people. Maybe AI is going to fix it up, but Twitter is kind of a mess, you know, like with trying to utilize it like we used to utilize it. So, you know, Instagram still ridiculous. You know, everybody's there. You know, it's got awesome. Zuck has built some crazy stuff, crazy awesome stuff. I just think the competition's coming eventually for a lot of this stuff. And as much as we've seen so much disruption in software names, this is still software. You know, it's still run that way. And I think eventually the social media platforms, it comes for that too. That's why I would not buy Reddit. I would not buy, you know, Reddit, same thing, and it can't get off the mat. And Kramer says the last night, he says, buy Reddit, it's going up. That's what he said last night on Mad Money. I'd say no. I take the other side. It may pop. It's oversold, yes. But I think when we look at this next year, I think there's going to be new social media platforms, and valuation is still really high here on Reddit. I'm staying away from this one. And Meta valuation is attractive. And if you're going to bet on somebody, it's probably Meta. But I think there's going to be a lot of competition coming, a lot of new things coming in the next year.
Okay.
From builders.
Dennis, 1 minute and 15 seconds away for April, March CPI data, headline CPI year over year. They're looking for 2.4 to 2.6, core CPI 2.5, month over month up 0.2 to 0.3. Sticky core has been at that 2.5%. What bothers me about these numbers is like, yeah, okay, plug in $100 crude right now. You know, plug in $120 crude right now. What do you have? I mean, yeah, eggs are at the lowest price they've been at years, but you know, eggs, crude. Who eats, you know, you're going to have to eat a lot of eggs and egg whites to come anywhere near the crude consumption. S&Ps hold it steady ahead of the number here. Dennis, you feel like going wide and pulling the markets or not?
I go wide for sure. There's no sense to be out there and get picked off, but I'm trying to hedge up here too right now.
Okay, 68.76 is yesterday's high. We're 2 ticks off the high of the session. Easily blow through 68.76. After that, things really open up until you get closer. I can't believe I'm saying this. 6,900. We're looking light, baby. We're looking light here. We're getting the pop here. Fee's gonna post the numbers here.
Choppy.
But you got to pop. You got to pop up to 68.88. First knee-jerk reaction is to the upside. Still focusing on 68.76. So that was the high for yesterday. Bulls have to show me that they want to keep it above 68.76. We are hanging there right now.
In line. 0.9% versus 0.9%. So in line, not hot, which is good. Now, again, does this include the big pop in oil here? You know, like, I don't think so. We're talking, you know, March. So I don't know if, like, obviously they're backing out some of that numbers there too, because it's went up significantly here. I'm trying to get the core 2.6
why don't you,
versus 2.7. So the core is light, 3.3. So actually we're a tick light here on the year over year number. So on the month over month, we were expected On the year over year, we were a tick light, 3.3 to 3.4. So that's good news. And the market's applauding that good news. And if we look, this is more, like they're not seeing inflation anywhere else. We know oil's inflated tremendously here. That's probably going to lead to inflation elsewhere, maybe going ahead. But so far, so good. This market's holding up well. These numbers are pretty darn good.
Hey, do you want to hedge up some stuff? Clean up.
I'm hedged up, man.
There's
no hedging, Joel. There's no hedging after the number. Do I want to hedge up some stuff? You got to get hedged before the number, before the risk comes.
Well, do you want to unhedge then? Do some.
I'm good, man.
I know.
I'm good with you guys.
I know you're unhinged.
It's not like if we moved 50 handles right now, I'd be scrambling a little bit here. But we're moved like 5 handles, so no, we're good.
You're unhinged, but
I'm unhinged but I am hedged.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to our next guest, folks. Here, the man that has as much, if not more, personality than Jeremy Newsom.
No. Yeah.
Well, I
Jeremy
don't know,
better not
man.
be listening.
I don't know. I hope Jeremy texted us yesterday. I hope he's not
Jeremy
listening.
Joel just said that.
Let's bring. All right, the same. Well, Tony learned from him. Okay, Tony learned from him.
Sure.
Let's go. Let's roll that. We might have to get a special intro for Tony. Let's bring Tony Pollock.
What's up, guys?
Tony Pollock back again. And we love Tony because he'll start out and he always starts the same way. You look at the chart, you look way out, try to get a feel for what the stock is doing, and then you kind of bring it in. That is the best way to do technical analysis, Tony. You've been taught by the master, Jeremy Newsom. We obviously love Jeremy Newsom. Still love Jeremy Newsom. We were speaking with him yesterday. But, Tony, I tell you, you're doing a great job running this company here. And we love having you here, too. So, Tony, what's new? What's new?
First of all, before we get into that, Tony, how many times have you erased everything on that board back there and had to put new stuff back up? Okay.
The last few months, it's a whole new board every other week. It feels like. So it's like I got a game plan. I was like, just kidding. All right, just kidding. Yeah,
just kidding.
Who do you want to win the Masters?
Oh man, who do I want? I would love Justin Rose. I feel like this would be like fitting since he lost it last year to Rory. So let's bring Rosie in and win this thing.
Okay, to the markets, Tony. Are we just destined for all-time high here? 8-day winning streak, first time since 1974. I wasn't convinced when we had that big gap up there. You got to back and fill. You got to back and fill. Wrong, yes. Tony.
This is what I'm here. I have my chart pulled up here.
Okay, let me get it up here.
Yeah, throw it up there. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. This is the final test for the bulls. Okay. First off, we are at a massive resistance. And everybody and their grandma's in. And so we actually closed out of all of our puts down here. When we didn't gap down, we were out. It didn't make as much as I thought. And I don't believe we got down to the area that I wanted to buy. But again, it doesn't really matter what Tony thinks. It's what the markets do. So you adapt, right? Don't be like, nah, it'll get here. It'll get here. And maybe it does later on. But when we finally didn't sink like we should have, I'm out. So we then let this thing go up. I started tiptoeing back into some more puts on the way back up. And there's a reason for that. And that's because the structure on a weekly is still broken, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean it has to stay broken, right? Things can flip. We can go straight to all-time highs. And that's why you have to be nimble as a trader. We talked about this board back here. You've got to be willing to change. Don't let your ego get in the way of the markets, because that is a big killer. I've made that mistake. Every trader has made that mistake. It doesn't matter what you believe should happen. What matters is what the markets are doing. And so what I'm looking at here is I am looking at this trend line that we've been kind of building through here a little bit over the last little bit. This is kind of the last spot. So I think we're going to come up and hit this area around 685 or so. And the options actually speak to that. So if we're looking here at some of these gamma levels, 685, it's really sticking out there. And so 680 was the spot yesterday that held us there pretty well. I think 685 now, if the bears are going to come through, that's going to be it. It's also matching this trend line. We're also extremely extended. But the next thing is this retest area here. this is what happens, right? We've broken the bull structure. We drop. This is the retest of that structure now. If the bears are going to come through, I would expect to probably see a little bit more selling today, which I don't think is going to happen. But we should be seeing some selling over the next week and some reversals. I don't know if that's going to come, but this is where the bears should be. And if they start giving up too much more ground, then we're probably just going to run straight to an all-time high, and it wouldn't be a shocker at all. So it's in that spot where bears should be. I don't know if they'll come in. We're gapping up again right now. But one thing's for certain, way too many bears in the markets down here.
Yeah, caught bad.
Yeah.
And the other thing here, Tony, is this market, I don't know if it's a selective perception on my part, but it seems like it loves to do V bottoms. You know, the tariff last year, you know, we see some stocks, you know, they just go down, 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 up, 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 up. It seems like this market just likes doing V's, and maybe that's how you catch the most traders, because they're on the wrong side. I'm going to wait for the dip, you know, and the dip will come here, and then I'll, you know, be able to get back in. I mean, this is a runner we're on here now on the S&P. We're on an 8-day potential winning streak here. There's been some little intraday dips here, but overall, it's been pretty straight up since, you know, the end of the world was happening 8 days ago here. So you probably, like you said, caught a few people on the short side here. I mean, is there the chance we go down and we fill that gap that we just made from, you know, the fake deal of the straight being open here? Or is this just, like you said, run into all-time highs?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is everyone here wants an answer. Like, Tony, tell me it's going to go up. Tell me it's going to go down. It's like, guys, I don't know what it's going to do. And that's why I said up, down, or sideways. I'm going to be right on one of those. But if you're trying to be right, if you're trying to predict the future, you are on the failer's path. Like, you will not make money in the markets. Your job is to react. Your job is to say, look, this is where bears should be. For the last 2 days, they haven't done anything. We're not out of this zone yet. So I'm going to keep on watching and waiting and see what happens here. But I'm also not a massive buyer up here. Like yesterday, we day traded this thing bullish and hit half of our month's goal in one day trade because the move was so massive, right? So you can find opportunities and do it with great risk control. And so instead of buying a whole bunch of long-term stuff up here or buying swing trades, I just day traded so I could get in and get out. And luckily for us, that move just took off and ran massive. I don't day trade very often, but when the markets are giving me that opportunity, I do it, because this is not a great buy zone. Everybody and their grandma's in bearish. It's going to Now, guess what's happening? Everybody's flipping bullish. Right here, you couldn't even find a green level on this chart 2 days ago. Now it's all green, and it's getting even stronger. I mean, if you look at this here, like this is starting to expand. Everybody's loading back into calls now. And because of that, now it's playing the opposite game of, if they wanted to pull the rug, this is exactly how they would do it. Now it's just a matter of, will they? Like I said, I'm giving this a little bit higher, maybe 685 area-ish. I want to see some selling here if the bears are going to come through. If I start to see some selling, I'll start putting on some bear positions, and we'll take this thing down. Let yourself get the confirmation. So it sounds like I'm like, oh, it could go bullish, could go bearish, because it could. I don't know what that is yet. But at the same time, momentum is very, very strong. A lot of bears are stuck. We have a little inverted head and shoulder that we've gapped off of. At some point, this is going to get retested, I think. It doesn't have to. Maybe we go to all-time highs before it does. But I'll just keep day trading this bullish all the way to an all-time high instead of trying to chase this. And don't get stuck in this, because, again, it's baiting people in, just like everybody started buying puts down here. We're starting to get the same game, and it might have a lot more up and down in this market, right? We're kind of into that stage again. Weekly structure is broken. I would expect a lot more chop to come through and potentially more volatility around the corner. So don't load everything into this. I feel like that's a pretty
we're on the line. Tony Pollock, he's the CEO of Real Life Trading, doing a great job taking over for our buddy Jeremy Newsom. Do you care about volume?
Yeah.
Do you really care? I mean, we had some big volume in the SPY last week on the up days, right?
Mm-hmm.
That first big up day on the 31st, the SPY traded 150 million. A couple days later, we dropped to 40 million. It's kind of been coming down on and off. Do you care about volume?
Yeah, I do. Volume and price action are the only things I care about. Everything else is reacting off of those two things. Every indicator, everything out there is reacting off of and being built off of price action and volume. And so for me, I have I have EMAs on my chart, but I use those for specific things. I don't really care for sentiment off of them. If I got rid of everything except for volume, I can bring volume back. But if I got rid of everything and just had a chart like this is how I trade a lot. Because these are the only things going to tell you what's about to happen. You can get clues. Like we were all out of everything long up through here and actually started buying puts all through here, and we're not caught off guard by that drop. And that's all from price action and volume. And so volume will give you a really good idea of momentum behind it. But most importantly, it confirms the areas that I'm looking at. So I use price action to tell me where my areas are at. And then I use volume to tell me if the big money is respecting those big areas for the price action. So this is a massive area. So far, volume is okay there. It's not coming in quite yet. But down here was a massive area. And we got, our volume was building going all the way through this. So it helps to confirm a lot of things, and there's a lot of different ways to use volume, but yes, for sure. Those are the two ones you want to focus on. Don't care about any other indicator. Indicators help support ideas, but I'm going to form my ideas off of volume and price action.
Okay, just real quick, open interest in the option markets. You mentioned your gamma open interest here. Do you pay more attention to that later in the week, like coming up into an expiration, or is it something that you keep, continue every day, looking at it perhaps, but looking farther out?
Every day. Yeah, I look at this every day, and really what it comes down to is what are the changes being made. So the this right here, this is all the expirations stacked up into one chart. Okay.
Yeah.
So this 680 level was the big level yesterday. Look how all the big money is rolling this, right? They just keep rolling themselves out and planning out, okay, this is the next big level because 680 was tested and held. It didn't work, right? So big money is losing on this roll up. The ones that are providing liquidity are rolling, or they're having to roll higher. And so now 685, this is a lot more size than what we had at the 680 yesterday by a ton. So I use these option levels a lot. They're extremely useful, especially on the same day stuff. So 680 should be the high of today. 670 should be the low of today with high probability. And so I use these quite often. And whenever we start getting through these, that's when your big moves come. So it's worth keeping an eye out. Yesterday, 677 was a big level. And when we squeeze through that, you'll see the big pops came. I mean, we made it to 680 in like 15 minutes. So you'll start seeing massive moves come whenever these levels break, but most of the time those levels will hold. So it's a good cheat code to see where the big money is placing their levels and their bets of where they believe we're going to stop.
Ticker time with Tony. Give me your tickers here right now. We have a few of them in the chat here, but we got Tony for another 7 or 8 minutes here. So give me your tickers here. I'm going to do the first one. Well-Being Warrior wants to see CoreWeave. So do I. CRWV. This stock just gets a headline, it seems like, every day. Yesterday got a deal. Today gets a deal with Anthropic. Stock is trading up 5%. But, the technicals tell the tale here, Tony. What are the technicals telling you on CRWV?
Yeah, this is from this perspective is looking really good. Like you said, let's start from the big perspective here and start working our way down. I love the base that's being built. I mean, if the bulls were going to step in, this would be about where they would do it from their IPO, working their way down. This is really good bull structure. So people just look at bear moves and they go, oh man, this thing is just falling apart. I look at how the bear move was formed. And if I'm getting some good structure on the way down and good levels of trade, this is a good sign to me to tell me that, at least give me a little bit more confidence in buying the dip. So the monthly looks great. The weekly is looking like a really good double bottom. If you want to be conservative, then I would say above like 105, you get a weekly close above 105, then I'm looking at buying dips. That looks extremely strong. On a daily time frame here, if you don't want to be as conservative and you want to start jumping in, yesterday was the time to get in. I mean, that retest of this gap, that's a perfect entry in there. Again, the downside of being aggressive is it's not really confirmed and it could just keep on dropping, right?
Yeah.
But you also get much better entries. And so there's always a pro and the con. My friends, don't chase the unicorn. Understand everything has a pro and a con. You just have to figure out which ones you're willing to live with, right? And then do your best to mitigate the downside. And so if you want to be an aggressive trader, you're going to have a lower win rate. If you want to be a more conservative trader, your risk reward is not going to be as good because you're getting in a lot later. Just figure out your pros and cons and live with it. And then don't fight back and forth on which one, it's like, oh, I waited for the confirmation and now I'm not making as much. I should have just gotten in. It's like, well, yeah, that's the game plan you chose. Like, live with it, right? So don't go back and forth because it just causes more unnecessary emotions. But long story short, I don't know why I'm so talky today, but this looks great. And I love the gap up on this. If you want to jump in here, it's still not a bad play. I personally now, with this big of a move up, would like to see a strong close over the next week and then give me a retest. That's the safer play. That's what I would wait for at this point, since I've already missed this entry.
I like the way you're setting this up, just, in technical, like you're waiting for actually let the big move happen without me at first, and then give me a dip to buy for the next big move. Like, I like that whole idea of it and saying it's safer, because it does feel safer like that too. Like, that whole concept just sounds safer to me as well. Yeah. Wellness Matters wants to know about Palantir, PLTR. Everybody is talking about this stock. It just had an awful couple of days. Software names are getting hammered here. Yeah. I want to know your thoughts on PLTR. I said some nasty things about it yesterday. And I don't know. I want to get your thoughts here because you're better with the technicals than I am, Tony.
So this weekly structure has been broken. This is the same market we're in right now. The weekly structure has been broken, and right now we're running up. So if the SPY starts to look like this here in a little bit, I wouldn't be shocked. This is opening the door for a lot more selling. And so right now, when the markets start flipping bearish like they are on this one, in my opinion, that means that rips have a higher chance of getting brought back down. Everyone's trying to buy these dips, but you're buying it in an environment where the dips aren't that strong. And so if this thing continues a lot lower, it's still going to be hard to buy this thing up. What you want to wait for is for the lower highs to get taken out. Again, are you giving up price action? Yes. But I just made a YouTube video on this. I don't think it's out yet, but I was talking about how the best traders are not getting in at the bottom and getting out at the top. The best traders are catching from here to here. They're not getting in here and getting out here like everyone thinks, right? And so stop trying to play that game, because you are going to try to buy this dip. You're going to lose, and then you're going to do it again and lose. And you're going to have 9 losses before you finally are right, because eventually you're going to be right. But how much money have you lost in the meantime? And then are you really going to be able to make enough money on this? Because most people can't hold for much more than 3 seconds on a bull move that finally agrees with them. And so the math is always going to be wrong. What I'd be looking for is what happens here at this support. The bulls stepped in previously here. Now it's back to the testing zone. This can start to reverse sentiment and start to pull back higher. Again, your safe play is just to wait for it to get to 160. Now the dips are going to get bought up. That's where the sentiment starts to shift. Right now, dips are not being bought on this time frame. Now, if we go out to a monthly time frame, they are, right? This is just working on an S curve on a monthly, and I really love this 20 SMA and EMA around 124 on a monthly. So if that were to happen, that would be breaking this support, getting everybody in bearish, and then look to see if the volume confirms this 124 area. If that happens, we might be seeing some reversals come through. And so bigger time frame, it looks fine. It's a buy the dip on a big time frame. On a weekly, if you want to be safer, it's going to have to reverse. And so every time frame is going to tell a different story. You have to figure out which one aligns with you and what you're looking at. I'm not going to go into all of that right now.
Okay, let's go into a wild child. NBIS, Nebius.
NBIS, what a runner. Wow. So this thing, we're coming back up into a testing zone now for the bulls, right? Same story. We start to double top here, it could start reversing. But if we can get some strong closures, the buy the dip is wide open. But most people won't wait for it. So we're working on 3 bull weeks in a row, or 3 bull months in a row, quite a few more weeks in a row, I bet. And running back up, let the dips come back through and then buy it. This is late in the phase, right? This is pretty, I mean, the move has happened, right? If you got in right here, are you adding to the position here? I wouldn't be. I'd be looking at taking profits as this thing climbed higher. So we're into that zone now where as soon as it shows up on everyone's radar, it's probably, the move is pretty close to being done. And that's what I would say here. It doesn't have to be, but I'd be looking at buying the dip on this. I wouldn't really want to chase this right now because, again, everybody is. And so great gap up, great move. This was all a bull structure, so dips should get bought. This is where everyone should be getting in. This is where profits should be taken, and everyone's flipping that. So they're getting out here for a loss and they're trying to get in when it's time to take profit. So understand the buying opportunities around the corner, but wait for them.
All right, someone just snuck in Palo Alto Networks, PANW.
All right, so this one's pretty decent. We have started taking out some lower highs here. We're getting some dips. Bulls should be stepping in. So I could see this thing continuing to run. Let's jump out here to a bigger time frame. We're holding. This is right where the bulls needed to hold. We're still placing a pretty big level up here. So the bulls would need to get above 180. That's going to be the next real big test for them, but they're building a base off the 200. Things are looking good. I would have liked to see a better close this week. Maybe we'll get that today, but if this can finally get a close above 180, it's very buyable, and the next big target is going to be back to an all-time high at 220. So I'm liking that. If we give this base up, we'll see a lot more selling into the next testing zone, which will probably be 120, 110 area. So I think this will hold. It's just a matter of timing it up.
I got a general question for you, Tony.
Yeah.
Do you use any fundamental analysis at all, or you do everything charts?
No, I do. So I believe in a hybrid approach. Like if one person says this is the only way to make money, and the other one's like, no, this is. I have friends that only use technicals. I have friends that only use fundamentals, and they both make a lot of money. So
you have good friends.
I like to merge them together, right? And understand that there is benefit in both of them, and understanding the environment and what's going on in the world and everything else helps me with this, because it doesn't matter how good the technicals look. If we start a war, things change, right? And so all of a sudden oil could be looking one way and it completely changes. And that's because of world events. And so you don't ever want to ignore one side or the other. Put them together, use them and to build a big picture so that you can have the best probability. And then don't worry about winning or losing. Your job is to control risk. If this doesn't work, I know how much I lose. If this does work, I know how much I win. That's your only job in trading. And so don't try to just never lose. Like, I've got to know every piece of news out there. I've got to know everything, because you're playing the wrong game. You'll never win at.
Yeah, like I just tweeted out and I was saying it earlier. As a trader, I believe this is the number one thing. It's your job to change your mind. Like, I mean, investors can be like, but I think as a trader, like, things change, circumstances change. And if you're always sticking, no, I'm, like I buy, Palantir no matter what, because I know it's going higher here. I think you've got to be always changing your mind as a trader, like being open to like the possibility of being wrong. So many traders just are not open to that possibility. They're like, no, I'm going to end up being right here. I can't, like you were just saying, I can't, have a loser here. I can't be wrong. I'm going to end up being right here eventually. I think just having that open possibility and open time frame of maybe I'm wrong and I should change my mind is healthy in trading and essential. I mean, what are your thoughts there? And then we'll go to one last ticker maybe.
Yeah, the ego world in the trading market and the trading world is crazy. I mean, everyone, like I've even seen people even say in here, they're like, there's no way that could happen. It's like, you will lose money with that mindset. There is always a probability of something happening. You have to think in probabilities. If you're thinking in no way this could happen, you are in trouble. You will lose. You have to be nimble. You have to be like, man, this is the most bearish thing. Oh, it's bullish. And be okay with that, right? And just go with what the markets are telling you. Because like you said, overnight things change. And if you're not willing to accept that, you will lose money trying to prove your ego right, or trying to make sure that you look smart in front of other people. Stop using the stock market to get your self-worth, my friends. Everyone is doing this out there on Twitter, on Reddit, on everything else. They need to be right to feel important. Stop, right? Love yourself without needing some validation because I'm so smart. Anyone out there who's trying to be like, this is it. It's like all you're trying to do is feed your ego. And it's like, you will not make money feeding an ego. If you want to make money in the markets, you need to be the opposite. You need to be the one that says, I don't know everything. Yeah. I don't know if this is going to go up or go down. I can't say there's no way this thing drops. There's no way this thing bounces, because now you're closing the door to a whole possibility and only seeing what you want to see and being blind to what the markets are telling you. So who cares about being right or wrong? You'll never make any money that way. I'm wrong all the time and I make a lot of money, because when I'm wrong, I lose this much. And when I'm right, I make this much. And so it doesn't matter, right? And so that's the idea, and that's the mindset. You guys can keep playing the you know, I'm saying you guys are. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I've seen
No,
this
I know
shit
what you
Reddit
mean.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But even all your audience, you guys are awesome. Your audience is so intelligent. They already get this. I'm probably preaching to the choir. But I was just on Reddit the other day, and they're just like, "This is going to happen," and this is, and I was like, guys, like, do you want to make money or do you want to be right? Because it's going to be hard to do both. Because
Wow,
I
that's
can
a
make money
You're
by
always
being
right.
wrong,
Yep.
too.
right? So
Tony,
let's
one
go over
quick
another
question.
ticket.
One
Yeah.
quick question before you go.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about AI. Are you how are you making use of AI for your trading, investing, everyday life?
The whole world is changing on it. I've invested a lot of money into my own local AI that I own, to build my own trading agents, my own trading systems. Because if you build this on their platforms, my friends, you're just simply training them, and then anyone can go and build it and steal it from you. Like
That's a great point too. I mean,
I
this
was-
is going to be like the major issue with AI is everybody just stealing everything from everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what OpenAI is all about, right? So
exactly. I mean, even yesterday I watched a YouTube video about someone's program that they built through AI, and I just said, "Hey, AI, build this for me. Here's the YouTube video," and it built me my entire platform off of it. Right. And so it's like,
what are you using to build?
What's that?
What are you using to
have
build?
to tell you.
Claude?
Now I have to tell us.
You have to tell us.
It was a whole social media generating content machine. Okay. And so they built it, and I was like, I love that. And I was like, hey, build me a version of this. And it just built me a version that matched what I need even better. And it did it in 10 minutes. And so like, that's the world we're going to. And so I'm building everything locally on my machines. There's nothing in the cloud. It's all local here, so that whenever I have my methods, I can protect those methods without having it become skewed on something else out there. So that's my big thing. But yeah, AI is massive, my friends. It's changing the whole world. We went from just, hey, AI, teach me how to do this, to the AI now does everything for you. It can go out there and create anything. It can, anything on a computer, it can do now. The world's changing fast. So
It is.
Yeah.
Great words from Tony Pollock, owner, Real Life Trading, joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. Tony, it's great, man. Can't wait to meet you in person. Yeah. All right, folks, that's it for Tony Pollock. All right, 8:58, and Feehan, roll that intro for the rating. So Dennis loves Shake Shack. He loves the burgers there, right? Let's talk shit.
I love the burgers there. I've never liked the valuation. That's always been my issue. But, you know, Shake Shack, baby, actually looking a little more productive on the charts here. Mizuho coming out this morning, upgrading the stock to outperform. Price target $120. Our checkpoints to Q1, same store sales growth upside with drivers in place for comp momentum and restaurant level margins ahead of current expectations as 2026 progresses. Comp drivers include increasing marketing, expanding value offerings, focus on driving app adoptions with loyalty launching, and going through, we'll get to the meat. Justifies a lower discount to growth peers, 23.5 times, resulting in our upped $120 price target. Upgrading outperform. Street Insider, thank you for that color.
Yeah, that this is a little bit a chaser for me. Buying it up here, so I got a bar of interest here, and I'm looking at 107.46. That was a high on February 26th. Had a crazy day that day. It was a big update, but it pulled back $9 after it made that high at 107.46. So that would be my first target. I just don't know if it's gonna get there. So it all depends too. I mean, if it takes more money to fill up your gas tank to go to Shake Shack, are you going to be spending $16?
No, it doesn't impact it at all. Oil, I'm gonna say, fuel prices, gas prices. There's not gonna need a surcharge. It's Shake Shack.
No. I'm just saying overall consumer.
I don't know. So again, we can go on that, and that's a tangent we could run on for a long time. How much is the consumer really impacted by fuel costs? Like, what's their bottom line? Is it really impactful enough to make them change their consumer habits? I don't know if it is.
Well,
maybe 20 years ago. I don't think it impacts the economy.
It won't me because I got an EV. Let's finish up with Nike.
Oh gosh. I don't even know. I think it got a downgrade. Downgrade to neutral off Piper. Laura's price target $50. Disappointment in the pace of the turnaround, you think? I mean, the stock just goes down every day. It's consolidating at the lows. So when you have a stock going down, 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 I consolidate for 5 days. Usually that's consolidation to go lower. So, I'm like, I think it's honestly probably, it's crazy to say this, but Nike's probably a good short here. At least for yeah. But so maybe the downgrade's okay because it's consolidating near the lows. I think it goes lower.
Yeah, I just if I had to give this a rating, I would say late. What I would do though, I mean, you could say that it stopped. Maybe you could say it stopped going down here and you have a consolidation period. I would keep an eye on 44.30, 44.38. I see 4 of the last 5 highs in that area. That's a big level. You get through that and, maybe you got some potential upside. But it looks like someone's just like, I just want out at 44.40. Just get me out. So see if we can mop up that seller. Okay, 9:02 here on pre-market prep, Dennis. We went a few minutes over. Any thoughts? We did get the pop to 68.88, and we've leaked 17 handles, which really is no big deal. I'm still going to be focusing on yesterday's high of 76. It's a little bit different than the regular session when the liquidity comes in. Maybe you could do that for your individual stocks, but Dennis, set us up for for the open here, and your thoughts on the markets.
I just don't think that I think the Bears have lost complete control of this market very quickly. And I'm just going to go back to what I was saying. As a trader, it's your job to change your mind. I think we're going to buy the dip market here now, and I think all-time highs are in the cards. Not for software names, unfortunately. That's where I'm at.
All right, Timmy Quast back on Monday from Market Structure Monday, and won't have the Brentster, though, but me and Dennis will help you navigate the weekends. I'm sure there'll be some truths to talk about and many other things. Folks, thanks for joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. And as I said, back with you on Monday morning.